All right, so good morning, and let's just have a couple of blocks today. And we'll start sitting in Sukhasana with the crossed legs. Ah. And I'm using those arms alongside, lengthening up, getting space between the vertebrae, space in hip sockets. Whatever little squinging and shifting you want to do. And then slowly releasing with the arms, letting the hands rest on the knees. Inhale and exhale, softening or closing your eyes. And turning your attention inward, feeling the breath. Letting that slow down, get a little deeper, a little longer. Allowing yourself to just be here in this moment, feeling your breath. And then we'll reach out wide through the collarbones, through the fingertips. Sending the breath out through the arms, breathing the arms up. Those arms are being lifted from the center of the body. And breathing them down. So let's do that twice more. Inhale and exhale, baby, lift up. Inhale and exhale. Once more. Getting a little taller. And then we'll let the hands rest on the knees and we'll Sufi circle around. So we'll tilt forward, over to the right, rounding back over to the left. And moving around so you can be on your own timing here. You don't have to be on mine. Feeling into your body, into your spine. Maybe it's a really big circling around. Maybe it's a small circle. And we'll do 2 or 3 more circles around in this direction. And then letting that circling resolve back into the center. Inhale and exhale. The body comes into stillness. But maybe that energy is still swirling around. And then we'll change to cross off the legs. And let's go the other direction. Forward, over to the left, back, over to the right, and forward. Breathing your way around. Lean into all those crunchy joints. And then we'll finish up in a moment going around this direction and resolving back into the center. Inhale and exhale, letting that swirling settle. And then let's reach out through the arms again, breathing them up, and we'll interlock the fingers. Give the elbows a pull, grounding the shoulder blades down. And then pressing up, grounding down, squeezing those upper arms in toward the ears. Getting longer and flatter, but without squinching the shoulders up to the ears. And then holding those arms nice and strongly as we slowly let go with the hands, holding an invisible block between your hands overhead. That block needs to be a little bigger to keep the arms extended. You can let the arms expand out. And then a big reach down. And we will come forward and over, breathing into the back of the body. And coming up, unfurling that spine vertebrae by vertebrae back up on top of the sitting bones. Inhale and exhale. And let's come around down to all fours. Let's see, before I forget to, let's put the blocks kind of about halfway on your mat. They can be one on each side. Let me put this one over here. Okay. Because we'll need them first, probably kind of toward the back of the mat. Meanwhile, here we are on all fours, doing a couple cats and cows. Centering our rippling spine after having done the circling of the rippling spine. All right. And then finishing with that, finding the neutral spine, drawing the abdominal muscles up a little, drawing the lower ribs in and up, pressing long and flat against the ceiling. And we'll extend the left leg back with the toes tucked under on the floor, pressing back into the left heel, stretching down the back of the left leg. And then lifting the right thigh up. And setting the right knee down, we'll switch sides, standing the right leg back, Pressing into the right heel, stretching down the back of the right. And then picking up the left thigh, making that right leg stretch more. And setting down the left leg, taking a pull back into child's pose. And let's slide out into the Sphinx. Pulling back with the elbows, pulling back with the hands. Feeling like that upper back is lying on the block, widening across the collarbones. Reach back through the toes. And finishing with this, and we'll head up to downward facing dog. Feeling yourself up and downward facing dog. Walking the dog or anything else you want to do here. And then finding the best downward facing dog of this moment. Nothing moving but the. And let's come down into child's pose again. This big long pull back. Coming forward into the Sphinx. And coming down, let's interlock the fingers behind, giving the shoulders a roll out. Just take a few moments, not really lifting very much off the floor, really rolling those upper arms in toward the center, pressing back through the hands, widening the collarbones. And then really reaching through the legs, and we'll lengthen to lift, whatever lifts at this point. And slowly release the hands, keep squeezing the upper arms toward each other as the palms face up. And coming down. And let's peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And going through the vinyasa, any version. Forward to the plank, chaturanga, or something like it. Upward facing dog, or maybe the cobra. And then we'll all be back in downward facing dog. And let's lift the right leg up, reaching long through the heel, reaching down through the left heel. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. and through to the lunge. And we'll bring that left knee down in Jayasana. Big circle of breath up the front, down the back. And then carrying those arms around with that circle of breath and back up overhead. And then we'll do the circle around once more. Namaste in front. And let's turn to the elephant rider. Pressing those knees out. Big stretch on the inner thighs. And then we'll slide. So shifting over toward the left, maybe making your feet a little wider if needed. And shifting over to the right. So you could be putting your left hand there on the block if that's helpful, with the block in the center. And then let's do that again, shifting over to the left toward the back of the mat. And then shifting to the right. And once more over to the left, and we're going to the low side lunge. So where you probably want to block is on the same diagonal line that your left foot is. And then we shift over and coming down. Or maybe sitting on the floor in the half dragonfly. And hands to Namaste, wedging that left arm against the left leg. Nice strong right leg pulling up with the thigh, reaching through the heel. And then expanding the arms toward the front of the mat, making a twist to the right. And bringing the right arm over the ear and a side bend toward the back of the mat. And a big reach around back to Namaste. And then expanding up into the wide leg forward bend. Straight legs, parallel feet. And then turning to the right lunge, back to the front. And we will twist to the right. And a big reach around with the right arm, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And then we'll go around on the left. Lifting the left leg up. And bending the knee dog at the high flyer height. Through to the lunge. And we'll bring the right knee down and Jayasana. Letting that breath deepen you into the pose. And then circling the arms all the way around and back up overhead. And we'll go around once more. Namaste in front. And turn into the elephant rider. All right, then let's do our sliding, making those feet a little wider if needed. Sliding to the right toward the back of the mat. And across into the left. And once more over to the right. And to the left. And then to the right toward the back of the mat into the low side lunge, taking your block probably on the same diagonal line that right foot is, just by the heel, and coming down, or whatever means necessary or any version needed. And wedging the right arm inside the leg, long through the top of the head. Make that left leg active, pulling the thigh up, reaching through the left heel, long through the top of the head. And then expanding the arms, making a twist to the left toward the front of the mat. And we'll bring that left arm over the ear in a side bend, reaching toward the back of the mat. And a big reach around, Namaste. And up in the wide leg forward bend. Prasarita Padottanasana. And then turn into the front of the mat towards your left foot. And we'll keep going, twisting to the left. And bringing that arm down, stepping back to the plank, through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. Three deep breaths here in our downward facing dog. Looking between the hands to jump or step forward. Into the concave back, halfway up, folding over. And coming up to standing, big front body yawn. And then let's take a circle with the arms here, Carrying the arms around. And we'll come down the center line. So a big lift up through the fingertips and top of the head, pulling the hands down the center. Smoothing that breath out. Namaste, steadiness. And a big lift up. And diving over. Concave back halfway up. And folding. Coming back up to standing. Big front body yawn. Let's take a circle around with the arms again as we did before. And then lifting up to the ceiling, drawing the hands down the center line in Namaste. And let's do that again. Big lift up. Diving over. Concave back halfway up. Folding over a little more deeply. Coming up, big front body yawn. Lots of strength in the center. Carrying those arms around. And then this time as we come up, bring the arms down wide to the side, long through the top of the head. And we'll interlock the fingers behind. Get the upper arm squeezing together, hands reaching down, lifting up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. And coming forward and over. And releasing the hands. Concave back, folding over. Jumping or stepping back through the vinyasa, downward facing dog. And let's lift our right leg up. Dog at the high fire hydrants. Through to the lunge. Coming up in either the high lunge or the warrior one. Couple more breaths, deepening into the pose. And then going up and over into the elephant. Pressing the feet into the floor, we'll come up to the three-pointed star, suspending there, and then into the temple pose, pulling the knees wide, pulling the elbows wide, hands to Namaste, down the center. And then swooping the arms out, keep the legs bent, and we'll bring the arms up over the head, holding the elbows. Try not to squinch the shoulders up too much. I'm going to do a big circle around, tilting over to the right toward the front of the mat. Down and over to the left, and back to the center. Let's do that 3 times. and around and coming up, or you can pick a different number. And then we're back in the center, straighten the arms up. Knee legs up, big reach around with the arms. So we'll just come to Namaste here. We're still in the outer rotated legs. Deep breath. Widening out back into the temple. Bringing the arms up, getting hold of the elbows. We're going to the left. Over to the left toward the back of the mat. Down and center. Around to the right. Up and over. 3 more, or number of your choice. And then, thank goodness, we will finish with that. Straightening up, bringing the hands around to Namaste. Front again. Deep breath. Turning the feet to parallel. And let's extend the arms out. And we'll rotate the right leg out 90 degrees. And into the warrior 2. Dancing warrior, nice spacious bending to the side. And into the triangle, Trikonasana, tilting over. Everything extending and radiating out. And a big reach around with that left arm to come down to the lunge. And stepping back to the plank. Through the vinyasa. Downward facing dog. And 3 deep breaths in downward facing dog. And then we'll come down and sit back in child's pose. Sliding forward into the space. Pulling back with the elbows, pulling back with the hands, reaching back through the legs. Calming down, bringing the arms behind to interlock the fingers, roll the shoulders out, really hold those upper arms, squeezing into the center as well as rolling into the center, and lengthen to lift, variation of Stalabhasana. Holding those upper arms together as we release the hands, palms face the ceiling. And coming down. And let's peel ourselves back up to downward facing dog. And you could go through a vinyasa here or not. All right, here we go around on the left, lifting the left leg up. Bending the knee dog at the high fire hydrant. And through to the lunge. Coming up in either the high lunge or the warrior. Feeling that breath deepening you into the pose. And then going up and over and into the elephant rider. And coming up to the three-pointed star. And into the temple pose. And bringing those arms up, holding onto the elbows. And we'll go over toward the left side, toward the front of the mat. And coming down forward, toward the right, toward the back of the mat. And coming up 3 more around, or a different number. And then we'll be back in the center. Resting down, coming up, release the arms, bringing the hands to Namaste. Breathing here. And then pulling those knees wide back into the temple pose. Bringing the arms up, getting hold of the elbows. And then we'll go to the right, toward the back of the mat. And forward. And to the left. And up and over. And then 3 more this direction. And then we will finish back up in the center. Straightening the legs, releasing the arms around into Namaste. Turning the feet to parallel and extending the arms out. Rotating the left leg out 90 degrees into the warrior number 2. And dancing warrior, left arm up and away. Into the triangle Trikonasana. And to the lunge. Stepping back to the plank, vinyasa, downward facing dog. And 3 deep breaths here in downward facing dog. Coming down, sitting back in child's pose. And coming up, unfurling the spine into simplified virasana. Long through the top of the head. And then reaching out through the top fingertips, breathing the arms up, interlocking the fingers, giving the elbows a pull, pressing up, rounding down, long and flat and long. Maybe depending on how your knees and thighs are, see if you can lighten up a little, or maybe even a lot on the heels. And if you can, ascending from here up onto your knees, or bringing the hands down to use them to help. And up. And then we'll take a circle around, releasing the arms, circling the arms around. And then continuing into Ustrasana, hands onto the sacrum or onto the heels. And up. So you can just come back down to that simplified virasana, or maybe trying to go with the interlocked fingers again. Interlocking the fingers, lengthening up, rounding down, and descending. But being mindful of your knee joints. And releasing the arms. Let's extract our legs, moving up more toward the front of the mat or middle of the mat. And making those feet hip distance apart, legs about at a right angle. Let's come up in the reverse tabletop. So you can have the fingertips forward, diagonal, or side. The more traditional yoga place is to have those fingertips forward, but it puts a little bit more stretch and pressure on the wrists that way. So you can go diagonal or side if needed. Let's start by pressing the feet into the floor, scooping the tailbone up, press more into the feet, and then lift the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin, as if we had the interlocked fingers behind. So do come down when you need to, otherwise we'll see if we can take 6 deep breaths here. And And coming down. All right, so we'll do that once again, or maybe not. If you want, you could straighten out the legs and make it into Purvottasana, the front plank. We're doing it with the bent legs again. All right, so we're only holding as long as you should. You want to try to come back down to the floor before it's too late. All right, so here we are, either with the bent legs or the straight legs. And no matter which ones we have, take a moment trying to press the heels into the floor. And then we lift up, scooping from the tailbone, press down with the legs and feet a little bit more, and then lengthening up the front of the body to lift the chest, to lift the chin. Squeeze those upper arms into the center as if you're squeezing a block between them. Hopefully you can breathe. And then coming down. Let's go to Sukhasana with the crossed legs. Reaching the arms out wide to the side. Reaching the arms out wide to the side, make the hands into a gentle fist, circling the wrists. So especially when those fists fold down, press out through the back of the wrist and then around. So try to feel like you're making space. You're reaching out through the knuckles. We don't want to grind into the joints. Stretching along all sides. And just noticing which direction your hands are rotating. And then unfurl the fingers and we'll come forward and over. Inhale and exhale. Coming up, unfurling the spine. Let's change the cross of the legs. Reaching out wide through the arms, hands into the fists, circling the other direction. With every circle around, your arms get a little wider, a little more space in the wrist joint, a little more space, maybe even up there on the shoulders, a little wider across the collarbones. And remembering to support from the center. And then unfurling those fingers, and we'll come forward once again. Nice big round breaths. Nope. unfurling. And let's come down to the floor. And we'll slide the legs out to straight. Unfolding those hip joints. And then bending the right leg in. Pulling the thigh into the chest, reaching through the left heel. And then right knee into the left hand, bringing that right knee across to the left, reaching out to the right through the right arm. Coming back to the center, sliding the right leg out to straight, bending the left leg in, taking a few breaths, pulling that left thigh in, stretching down the front of the right leg. And left knee into the right hand, left arm out to the side, taking that left knee across. Coming back to the center, and then a time of many options. So you could go right to Shavasana, could repeat that crossover twisting you just did, or something similar. Or for those who want to get a little work in the core, a little combination of stretch and strength, we'll do some sideways leg lifts. So that will be the default for the undecided. Sideways leg lifts, both arms out to the side, legs bent or straight, good spot for you. So we're going to take the legs over to the left first, making a twist to the right. Inhale and exhale, legs left. And then inhale and exhale, pulling them back, a little massage across the lower back. And then over to the right. And pulling them back, nice roll across that sacrum, and 3 more sets. And if you're doing some different stretch and it's a one-sided one, switching sides now. We should be almost done with our sideways leg lifting. And then once you are done, setting the feet down. Deep breath. Sliding the legs out to straight. Make sure the hands are below the level of the heart. And into Shavasana. Inhale and exhale. Especially if you were sideways, leg lifting, letting that face relax. And breathing back into your body, into the room. Moving the fingers and toes, getting circulation going. Stretching the arms up overhead. And bending the knees to gently make your way up to sitting. And sitting in any comfortable position with a long and spacious spine. Taking a few more moments, sitting quietly inside yourself. Namaste. Thank you for coming.